What if I told you the Confederacy never really died? That there is a place where the stars and bars is viewed, not with revulsion, but with pride? That in this place, wearing a gray uniform really was nothing more than expressing heritage, and had no larger political message or signal? Where once a year a community gathers together to toast and pay tribute to old Johnny Reb? There is such a place out there, where the dream of the South didn't die with the Civil War, where Southerners could dress and dance as they pleased, and find refuge to practice their traditions and customs, as well as their vile practices, without interference. Welcome, viewers, to Americana, a lost Confederate colony. Now you might be wondering, where in the hell is this Confederate paradise? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's in the South. No, I mean the South, as far south as you can imagine. This, my friends, is the story of the Confederados. As the long, brutal American Civil War was coming to its bloody conclusion, many in the South knew what lay ahead of them. After the passage of the 13th Amendment, as well as the horrifying stories of General Sherman blazing and razing a savage path to the sea, many in the South had realized that the final death rattle of the CSA wasn't too far off. The general attitude in the South had gone from desperation to despair. Fear and panic were spreading fast, and talks of holdouts were quickly turning into rumors of a mass exodus. 2 days before the surrender of General Lee, one Southerner wrote in her diary, "The war is closing in upon us from all sides. I'm afraid there are rougher times ahead than we have ever known yet." Nobody seems to doubt it, and everyone feels ready to give up hope. There is complete revulsion in public feeling. No more talk about help from France and England, but all about emigration to Mexico and Brazil. Many in the South saw the defeat and impending occupation by the North as an existential crisis, one they would rather flee from than deal with head-on. And so, they packed their remnants and resentments and prepared to head south of the border, best exemplified in the words of veteran Major Innes Randolph. "I won't be reconstructed. I'm better now than then. And for a carpetbagger, I don't give a damn. So I'm off for the frontier soon as I can go. I'll prepare me a weapon and start for Mexico." Some of the settlers came with relative ease, and some had to sell everything they had. But no matter how they came, in Latin America they found themselves welcomed. There was actually something of a scramble to resettle these fleeing Southerners, with countries such as Venezuela, Mexico, and Honduras vying to attempt to resettle them. The Southerners had valuable knowledge and expertise in the still profitable field of agriculture and production, and while it had been starting to phase itself out, slavery was still a very lucrative proposition in Central and South America at the time. In the beginning, many of the emigres from the CSA attempted to settle in Mexico, but it didn't exactly go as planned. More Southerners would wind up in Brazil overall, but amongst those who went to Mexico, at least initially, were many higher-ranking members of the CSA military command structure. Although seemingly welcomed by Emperor Maximilian at first, between the spiraling unrest in Mexico at the time, as well as lingering suspicion and resentment left over from the Mexican-American War of 1847, it didn't take long for the Confederates to wear out their welcome, and things began to unravel for them in Mexico quite rapidly. Many went back home, but many still, fearing and resenting what awaited them back in the now occupied South, looked around for other options. And there seemed to be no shortage of options. The most attractive offer, though, came from Dom Pedro II of the Empire of Brazil. Brazil was as, if not even more so, welcoming and attractive to the more common citizenry of the CSA. Mexico was for the generals and the military, who planned to use it as a base and launching pad for future plans. Mexico was not truly giving up hope for Mississippi, but Brazil was a clean break. In Mexico, you were almost a refugee. In Brazil, you were a settler, a pioneer in a new untapped land full of limitless potential. Plus, it didn't hurt that Brazilian society of the time would actually have more in common with the antebellum culture of the South than the Southerners would find in the northern half of their own supposed country. Although it had outlawed the importation of slaves in 1850, the vile practice of slavery was still very, very much alive and thriving in Brazil. Although they could probably make more money closer to home out in the West, many Southerners chose Brazil for a variety of reasons, including its size, warm to moderate weather, as well as plenty of land for cotton and sugarcane to grow. The Brazilians courted the Southerners into resettling in Brazil, taking out ads in newspapers around the soon-to-be former CSA. They offered to subsidize their transportation and promised land for those who came. Brazil at the time wasn't fully settled yet, so these Confederates, with their expertise and hard work ethic, could be quite a boon for the still shaky empire. And their efforts paid off. Of the thousands who left the South, Brazil was the largest beneficiary, both in terms of human capital as well as economic benefit. So off they went in the thousands to Brazil, sometimes integrating into larger, already established cities like Rio de Janeiro, as well as founding and settling their own communities out in the unknown wilderness, trying to recreate a home so far in terms of land, but never so far away from their hearts. No one has been able to calculate the exact number of people who fled the South for Latin America, but what we know for sure is that these people have had a lasting effect. Although the vast majority of these Confederados returned to the States after the end of Reconstruction and the implementation of the Jim Crow laws, many stayed and made lasting impacts on the societies they integrated into. One excellent example of such is Santarém, which was located in one of the world's most underdeveloped areas but now serves as an important trading center, and where you could run into descendants of the original Confederate settlers, with mixed names like José Carlos Calhoun, and whom drink at one of the several bars that still proudly display the old stars and bars. For many Americans, myself included, these mysterious wayward brothers and sisters are a mystery to us. I personally find it both somewhat encouraging and sad. It's strange to know that no matter what happens to us up here in the United States, that there exist a people out there who continue our legacy and existence, even if it is the worst possible example of our national history. I wonder if they think about us up here in the States, if they think of us as home, or if it's just a far-off place that their ancestors fled to. When Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia in 1972, he and his wife Rosalind, whose great-uncle had actually been one of the original Confederados, made a trip down to Brazil. Although now demographically a minority, he couldn't help but marvel and admire the influences the Confederados had had on the city of Americana, remarking that they had seemed and sounded just like Southerners. To paraphrase an old saying, you can take the Southerner out of the South, but I guess you can never take the South out of the Southerner, for better or worse, or wherever that may be. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my first video ever, and I want to apologize for the shitty quality of the polling balls and the sound editing. I'm still trying to figure out how to do the app and figure out which programs work best, but please stay subscribed to the channel. I just wanted to get this out quickly. There's so much more I wanted to talk about this subject that I couldn't get in there. I just wanted to make a quick 10-minute video while I plug away on the big project I'm working on in the background, which should be a couple hours long, which is about the nationalist era in China. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. If you want me to go back and revisit the subject, I can. Other than that, welcome to Vexosphere. Please stick around and we can have some fun together. Take it easy, guys.